Welcome to Tiny Game Chronicles episode 34. My name is Marcus, and here with my good friend Michael, every other week we discuss games that are quick plays, but epic journeys. It is great to see you today, Michael. We just recorded on the weekend. I think that by the time this episode comes out, how should I put it? You'll have shown yourself to the world on our BFAM podcast.
Yeah.
How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm very well. I really enjoyed the episode on BFAM. Would encourage anyone to go and listen. It's going to be live by the time you listen to this. So by all means, if you want to listen to our thoughts on best games of the year, then BFAM is the place to be, because I think we had also some emotional moments, right? These games speak to us, Marcus, right? How was it for you?
Yeah, it was great. It was nice to be able to talk. I mean, I love tiny games, obviously, but we talked more than just tiny games on that show. So kind of like our overall favorite games of the year. And it was great to get together with all of our friends, Michael.
Some aliens, I'm sure.
May or may not be there.
May or may not be. It's rumored.
So before we get started, Michael, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite casino game?
That is a very good question, Marcus. I'm actually not a gambler per se, like in real life, but I have attended gambling dens.
Oh wow! Okay, that sounds shady.
Well, there is a place while I was living in South Africa when I was still working for publishing. We were invited to Sun City, and Sun City is a place specifically built with kind of 5-star hotels way over the top, and it's like the gambling den in Africa. It's in the middle of nowhere, so it kind of makes you think of the American example, like Las Vegas as an example. It's quite an experience. I love watching people go there. If you were to ask me, yes, I did play some slot machines, and it's fun, and it's okay, to maybe just lose a little bit of money. But I tend to play blackjack if I do play.
Okay.
I think I'm the blackjack man.
What about you? Well, I've always wanted to understand blackjack a little bit. I'm not a gambler. Maybe like you, Michael. Like maybe even less than you. I've never been to a gambling den. I've been to a few casinos, and usually I just stick to the slot machines, which frankly I don't really enjoy that much. But that wasn't reflective of my experience. Spoiler of playing this game. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I just always lose money. So like, what's the point? It's not that fun to just lose money. So I would, the spectacle of it. I've never been to Vegas. I've never really, casino here and there, but yeah, it's not really my thing.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Who likes losing money?
I think it's just a temptation to have a small win, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So it's that. But I think we played a game. Yeah, the house, indeed. The house, in the end, the house always wins. That's
always.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before we get into talking about our game today, Michael, I just wanted to point folks towards our previous episode, The Berlin Apartment, a game that I think tells several pretty important kind of stories of, the lives of people in Berlin over the last 100 or so years.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think there are a lot of life lessons to pick up from there with regards to, what does the world look like out of one apartment in the span of, almost 100 years. It's something that perhaps needs to be promoted in schools a little bit more to make history a bit more accessible to those who have, difficulties reading through reams and reams of information. A game like this might make all the difference to get the message across, right? History tends to repeat itself, Marcus, unfortunately. Yeah, so
it does.
Yes.
It really does. Yes. Okay, Michael, let's get into our discussion about today's game, Slots and Daggers. Slots and Daggers released on PC and Mac on October 24th, 2025. It was developed by solo dev by the name of Friedemann Also a German developer, Michael.
Yes.
From
Also in
Berlin, you
Berlin.
tell me. Yeah.
Yes, also Berlin. I think a different apartment, but
Probably a different, maybe the same one.
maybe
they
one.
just didn't.
We'll
the devs
see.
didn't choose to tell that story.
Who knows? But I'm glad we stayed in Berlin. Because he did something that's actually quite fabulous. So
yeah. And it was published by Future Friends. Steam describes Slots and Daggers as a retro mini roguelike inside a slot machine. At first glance, I was thinking about this, Michael, and it almost looks like a classic RPG style dungeon crawler game when you first look at the screen, except your attacks are done by spinning the wheel of a slot machine. Basically, the game involves choosing a set of starting weapons for your slot machine and facing off against various monsters of increasing difficulty. As you defeat more and more monsters, you gain coins and upgrades and additional weapons that you can use for your slot machine. There are 10 areas, each with roughly half a dozen battles. And there is a loose narrative that holds it all together. But I'm going to admit, Michael, right now, I didn't follow it or pay attention to the narrative one bit.
Unfortunately, I didn't either, Marcus. And for one who's really interested in the narrative, I was way more interested in what the results were getting from spinning the wheel, so to say. So, I'm sorry, Mr. Friedemann. We unfortunately did not pick up on your narrative.
Yeah.
But well done for it being there.
Yeah. There's no open critic score, Michael, but it does have. I always looked at the Steam user reviews. It's listed as very positive, and it does have over 3,000 Steam user reviews. So I think it has gotten a little traction within at least within the indie game community.
Yeah.
We always start out these discussions, Michael, by asking ourselves 3 questions. What did you play it on? About how long did it take you to beat? And what are some high-level thoughts you have about the game?
So, Marcus, I said I wasn't a gambler. However, if I were to give this game an alternative title, I would call it Just One More Spin, because that's exactly what this game did with me, right? I know this is a tiny game, Marcus. However, I spent, and I'm embarrassed to say, 16 and a half hours.
Wow. Yeah.
With this game spinning. So, I mean, there's a reason why I don't gamble. I think the addiction could be real. I was addicted to this game. And I played it on Steam Deck, on PC, as well as on Mac, just to kind of see whether it works on all 3 platforms. It did. I had seriously no issues with it. I love the fact that it did give the idea of you being in some sort of retro tavern, right? If that makes sense, like a dark fantasy CD casino, if that makes sense. And I thought the game was something that's really rare. I don't know, it really got me involved. So underneath all the chaos that we see and when the wheels are spinning, there's actually a strategy there that's kind of waiting to be discovered. And also that the game respects your time. We'll probably go into it a little bit more. But I did not feel that I was actually wasting those 16 and a half hours, if that makes sense, right? So whenever you lose or you lost, you didn't start from zero again. We'll talk about that as well, right?
Sure.
So, yeah. What about you, Marcus? How was it for you, and where did you play it, and how long?
Did you say, I might have missed it, did you say where you played? Did you play this on PC or Steam Deck?
So on all 3. So Steam Deck,
all 3.
Mac, and PC.
Oh, you did Mac as well. Did you have to buy it twice for that, or did
no? You just buy it. You just paid buy it on Steam, and then you can download it to the various platforms. Yeah,
gotcha. So I played it exclusively on my Steam Deck. This is frankly a perfect Steam Deck game. It's Steam Deck verified. It works so good on the Steam Deck. Yeah. It's nice to be in that handheld thing, because it's not a game I would say that requires like 100% attention. So this is a game that you could like be watching sports or something and have this kind of going on in the same,
or listening to Tiny Game.
Or listening to Tiny Game Chronicles while you're playing. Exactly. Perfect. This took me, according to my Steam clock, Michael, 5.8 hours to beat.
Okay.
So a little higher than our Tiny Game criteria, but kind of right around that mark. Some high level thoughts. I I would probably echo, by and large what you said. I think that this game is a heck of a lot of fun, and it is just kind of
Yep.
like a one more spin, particularly early game,
Yep.
because the runs are much shorter. It's like, okay, I need to get, I'm going to upgrade my stuff a little bit. I'll be a little bit stronger. I'll maybe be able to get a little bit further, and it is firing all those dopamine kind of receptors in your brain throughout lots of stuff that it does, and it's a lot of fun. I think
Yes.
that that's kind of the if there's one word that I could use to describe this game, is just fun.
Mm.
So
Mm.
as we move on here, Michael, just a brief reminder for listeners to let them know about the way we talk about games on Tiny Game Chronicles. We like to identify three things that we think stood out about. We like to identify three things that we think stood out about a game and do a deeper dive discussion on each of those three things. And we don't talk about spoilers on Tiny Game Chronicles. There's nothing really to spoil here. You're kind of working your way through monsters. There is a loose narrative, but I didn't even follow it.
Mm.
Michael didn't follow it, so I don't know that I could spoil the story,
Mm.
even if I wanted to. So uh, I think that we can move into our main discussion, Michael. Let's start out with standout item number one. And, I alluded to it a little bit in my high level thoughts. The sound of this game, it really creates like this atmosphere. There's this, I think it's a really effective sound design. You feel like you are in the middle of a casino playing this game.
I was going to say exactly the same, Marcus. And me having visited casinos in my life, at least Sun City, as I was mentioning earlier, this is exactly what a casino sounds like when you go in there, right? And I think that Friedemann got this down to a T, kind of replicating that. He also added some sound, and this is quite weird because we have a little bit of a jazz organ and some hip hop drums, right, mixed in,
Yeah.
which I thought was actually great to kind of give it another texture with regards to this fantasy roguelite that we have here. And the whole game feels like, I don't know, this kind of weird breathing place. Which is very unique. I think the atmosphere that he gets with the sound, and the more that you play the slot machine, you kind of hear the patrons chatting in the background, right? The deeper you get into your run, I'm not sure whether you picked up on that. They cheer, no, whenever you do like a critical hit, right? So
yes, they do. I until you mentioned it, I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's like they're like cheering you on. And it almost feels like, you're in a crowded bar. And so every mechanical sound has a specific job. It's the reels that are clicking and whirring. It's the coins that are jiggling. It's the bells that are ringing when you're hitting crits, right? Whenever you hit, your physical hits sound differently than your magical hits. So there's nothing in there thrown as a filler. I think it's the sound design and the audio is very, very intentional. And I think that the machine itself almost becomes like a central character just through the sound, Marcus.
Yeah.
Right? How was it for you with regards to winning or losing? Just from the sound point of view, did it intensify your experience?
I think it did, and it's almost subconscious because, like I said, I almost forgot that this cheering, especially like when you defeat somebody, they do that yay,
Yeah, exactly.
and yeah, yeah, I think like one of the things that this does really good in terms of sound is like it layers the sound. So like
Yes.
it's not just one thing, one sound effect, and then another one, and then another one. It's like three of them on top of each other. There are coins like flying out the machine. There is cheering. There is like the wheel spinning. There's, it's like it really kind of like almost intensifies the atmosphere as well because it's just like so much going on. It's just like again that dopamine just bing 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 bing,
Totally.
like all these these areas in your brain lighting up at the same time, right? And so yeah, I think it does create that casino like atmosphere, and I think that's definitely it's what Friedemann was going for. He actually, I was on the Steam page,
Mhm.
and he was talking a little bit about how much time and effort he put into the sound design of the game, and I think it paid off because
Totally.
it's doing exactly what he accomplished, or
And
what he was trying to accomplish. Sorry.
I think it's part of that addicting nature, right? There's
Hmm.
something addicting about hearing people cheer. I don't know, you hearing your winnings, right? The hearing of the coins. There's something very addictive about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, let's move on to standout item number 2. And this is the meta progression of the game.
Mhm.
So, despite the Steam description that calls this game a roguelike, it's more really a roguelite because you do have the ability to upgrade your character, I guess, in
Yeah,
between runs. So, you
yeah,
are a little bit stronger and you're a little bit stronger and you're a little bit stronger. And the way that it does that is by awarding you, the player, these tokens
correct,
after every successful enemy that you defeat, right? And then
correct.
you can use those tokens to upgrade various attributes that you have that are, transferred between runs.
And I think this is the real RPG nature of it, so to say, right? The fact that you can strengthen either the type of damage that you do, or you can increase the damage resistance that you have, right,
Yep.
within those tokens. And you always get, depending on how far you go down the line, a specific amount of tokens that would allow you to upgrade up to a specific maximum a particular attribute. So I think that's really smart design. And I'm totally with you that that is then a roguelite because your losses actually matter.
Yep.
If that
Yep.
makes sense, right? Because you need them for those, and they're permanent, right? Permanent upgrades. Yeah, and I would say I wasn't ignoring them. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think it took a little while with regards to. I'm not sure how you did it, Marcus. I obviously because you don't have all the coins, right?
Yep.
The
The
later
tokens.
attributes, the tokens, exactly.
Yeah.
The later attributes are a bit more expensive when it comes to tokens. So I
Yep.
used to cash in all my tokens, right, and then
Yes.
use all of them, which is nice. There was no penalty for cashing in your tokens. You could just cash them in if you wanted to, and then get an attribute which you thought was more valuable, of higher value. And so I think I completed in the second half of the game the attributes from the from back to front, if that makes sense, right? Your
Right.
latter tokens, your latter attributes first, with the tokens that you got just because you could be more powerful until I thought I'm not sure whether you maxed, but I think I maxed out my attributes, Marcus.
So I didn't fully max out everything. I
Okay.
was focusing mostly on increasing my modifiers that did physical
Yeah.
strength and resistance because
Yeah.
those were the weapons that I was choosing most regularly. It seemed like it didn't seem like I had options, at least in the early game,
Hmm.
to acquire weapons that had a magical attack.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know that I want to spend it. And those were also the modifiers that required the least amount of tokens. So I was
Correct.
focusing all on that. And as you said, there are kind of like uh, some modifiers that require a lot of tokens. I didn't even look
Correct.
to see what they were because it was like 200 tokens. I was like, I don't have that much. So I was always just cashing things in. I didn't even
Yeah.
look to see what it was. I mean, if you want, a little tip for people, if you want to get through the game really quickly, just don't use anything. Save up for those higher one,
Yes.
those more expensive modifiers first because
Correct.
they'll speed up the rest of the game because that top modifier or the one that costs the most is adding an extra wheel to your spin,
Hmm.
and you can do that twice actually. So instead of just getting 3 potential attacks or kind of like actions during your combat, you can get up to 5, and that
Yep.
changes the game completely. As soon as I unlocked 5, I beat it in my next run. Like
Yeah.
and I think what are the other expensive ones, Michael? What was the one that cost 100 tokens? Do you remember that one
I
to
can't.
start?
I don't offend. I would have to go check in the game
It
because
might
I
have been
maxed them
something
all.
to,
So
yeah,
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 yeah.
that's right. There's some, I think, like increasing your starting health as well.
Yeah,
That's a
instead of
that
your starting coins, so you could start with
yes,
100 coins, if that
yeah,
makes sense, right? So
yeah,
not tokens, but coins to
yeah,
maximize your weapons or whatever you chose to take into battle with you.
right, right.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean,
and then damage
I
resistance, exactly.
damage resistance, yeah, I think like, and there's other ones as well that change the cost of things, which we'll
Yeah,
talk about in the next standout, I
yeah,
suspect.
yeah,
It changes the cost of some of the upgrades that you can purchase while you're in a
correct.
particular run, right? And I suspect I've I've probably focused, and I think they probably, like, Friedemann designed it this way, that most players are going to probably focus on those lower cost modifiers first.
Correct.
Um, but in retrospect, it's probably better to focus on. I mean, assuming you want to get through the game a little bit quicker, probably focus on those most expensive ones first because it'll actually speed things up in the long run.
So, Marcus, the question that I have here for you is: do you think that this mechanic makes the stakes feel too soft at times?
Hmm. I don't think so. I think I would be frustrated if I didn't feel like I was getting better
Yeah, yeah,
between runs.
yeah.
And like it does, I think it does take a little bit to kind of understand um, what it is you're trying to achieve and kind of like the pros and cons to making different decisions as you're going through your run. Um, but yeah, I think that if they had made it like, say the cost of each of the modifiers was too
Mm,
much and kind of like it
mm,
slowed down the progression even more, I think that I would have gotten more frustrated with it. So
I'm
I
with
think
you.
he struck a good balance in terms of um how many tokens you got and how what the cost of each of the modifiers were. I think one other thing that I would, maybe a tip again for people
Mm,
considering playing Slots and Daggers is, um, I had mentioned right off the top that there are 10 different areas that you can work through. Well, once you clear one area, you have the option of starting like at any area that you've made it to.
exactly.
So like if I make it on one run, I start from the very beginning, I make it to the third area. Well, the next run, I can start at the third area if I want. I wouldn't recommend it though, especially early game. Start right at the beginning because it allows you to acquire a lot more tokens that are going
Exactly.
to help you upgrade those modifiers and set you up a little bit better.
Exactly. You can actually just develop your build further, right? So if you
Hmm.
start from the beginning, if that is key.
Yep.
So the way that I feel about this is that the longer you play, the softer it feels, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
played
I
for
would say
5 hours. I played three times as long. So of course I had like 3 times the amount of tokens to play with.
Yep.
Um, However, if you finish the run, so if you finish beating all 10 levels, there is another level that opens, or at least there is what they call the arena that opens up, and then
Right.
all um, enemies scale in difficulty, right?
I didn't try
So
the arena. I didn't
yeah,
try the arena
yeah.
mode at
So the
all.
arena is there to try, and as I said, it's probably your early enemies are 10 times as strong as what they used to
Oh,
be.
okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're scaling to where you are at.
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly,
interesting. I didn't know
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So
Okay, Michael, let's move on to standout item number three. And this, we've kind of already kind of tiptoed around it, but this,
mhm.
we wanted to talk a little bit about the builds that you make, because there can be quite a bit of variety. I think there's some
Yes.
fair amount of strategy that the player is encouraged to, experiment with um, during a particular run.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I took a little bit longer is the game asks you to be selective. And I think that's definitely, if there is any hint, no, with regards to how to approach this game. My mistake, though, was that I was too selective too soon.
Okay.
Where I ignored the other rewards that the game gives you by saying, no, I'm just going to stick with this and see how far I can go. I think that that is okay, but I think you really need to approach playing with various builds, if that makes sense. Because there are many ways in which you can beat the last level. It's not just the one way. And I thought, okay, well, if I maybe have a poison build, right, and I just focus on a poison build, so you can imagine I have like a poison dagger, eventually you have like a poisoned sword, so short sword, that will actually take you right to the end. And the fact is that if you do not look at what else the game throws at you, it's going to be a very hard journey for you to complete it. And Marcus, you know that I'm very stubborn, right? So if there is a quick fail, I'll get up and try again, and I try again for 10 hours before I say, let me try something else.
Something different, yeah.
Exactly. So I think really just see it as a puzzle. Look at it strategically. Make sure that you grab the upgrades from the shop, because there are tons of upgrades that are there. I'm not sure whether should we discuss some of the builds that we had, or do you think that's going to be spoiler?
Maybe I want to take. Actually, I was thinking as you're kind of talking. Maybe I probably should have introduced this a little bit better. Like take a little step back. So basically, what's happening, when you're fighting, right? You have to, at the very beginning of your run, you have to choose 3, I guess, skills. Tools. Yeah.
Exactly.
So some of those are weapons, but some of them could be like a shield or it could be something that increases your health. And basically, these 3 things that you've chosen are the potential options that are going to appear on when you spin your wheel. You pull the slot machine.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you defeat enemies, actually, in the middle of battles, you can gain coins as well. So doing different things, you can get coins. So the coins kind of like sit in a pile on the side. Now, once you defeat an enemy, you may unlock additional, I guess, what are we calling these? Abilities, skills to add to your wheel.
Yeah.
And you also have the ability to purchase things that are not on your wheel. Let's call those ones upgrades, maybe? Upgrades?
Yep, upgrades is good.
Yeah, that some of them are passive. So that basically it might be like increase your overall health
by life. 200 points or whatever.
Something like this. Or it could be something that allows you to an additional attack, like a crossbow attack or something like this. And there's a whole range of these. Some of these upgrades at the bottom you can use them after your wheel spin, but they may cost some of your coins that you've accumulated on the side, right?
Correct.
And so every time you defeat an enemy, you can have the ability to purchase or upgrade any of the skills that you have that can appear on the wheel, but you can also purchase upgrades. So you're constantly like, you're accumulating coins. You're like, okay, I'm going to upgrade the sword, the poison dagger that Michael had said. You can upgrade it so it causes a little bit more poison damage the next time, the next enemy that you face. And so you're constantly kind of like accumulating coins, upgrading your wheel, adding more things to your wheels, adding different upgrades, increasing the strength of those upgrades. And you're kind of like doing this. And then there's a lot of different variety, as you can imagine, as I'm describing this, right? There was definitely some builds that I gravitated towards. And the ones that I started out with, I experimented a little bit with the poison stuff. I got moderately far in that, but then I kind of like branched out a little bit. And the ones that I ended up landing on were a slingshot. So this maybe I'll
and I never tried slingshot. I never tried slingshot. Yeah.
So the slingshot would the attack power would scale up depending on how many coins you had in your pooled.
Brilliant.
So so I used the slingshot, and then I also used like a ninja star. And so the ninja star required, this is something we haven't mentioned, some of the weapons also require skill checks. So you're having to like maybe hit the button, aim, and stop the kind of like the cursor as it's kind of like fluttering through the screen. You have to kind of stop it where it's at the bullseye.
The enemy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And or some of the swords, like you have to kind of like time it so that you've got like a power bar moving up and down. You've got to time it when it's at the top to get the most attack power. And And so like you're doing this. So anyways, I was using the slingshot, which I always had to keep like an extra reserve of coins. I wasn't wanting to spend all my coins so that I had to kind of like balance upgrading the power of these things,
Mm.
but still keeping a reserve of coins as high as I could. Um, and then the Ninja Star, I would just upgrade, and I felt like I got pretty good at like hitting close to the target
Very good.
all the time, so I was always maximizing it. I used a shield. I always had a shield available. What else then? And then the other things that I added to my slot machine wheel was something that allowed an extra like spin
Mm-hmm.
of the wheel, the 2 spin. And what was the other one that I did? Oh, getting extra
The
coins.
extra, exactly. But you also
Extra
had the
coin.
extra wheel, or at least you could spin one more wheel, an
Yeah,
extra
that was
wheel,
one
like
of those
like
upgrades
a
that you
fifth.
purchase at the
Exactly.
bottom. It cost 10
Exactly.
coins every time,
Yeah.
but I always had a lot in reserve, and I was always generating a lot because I had like 5 coins and then the tub will spin. It's just like you're adding all of these things on. That final run that I made, Michael, it was magical. It was so awesome. I was just cutting through
Ah,
everything.
beautiful.
It was so fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only advice that I can out of my learnings, I think, Marcus, you approach it the correct way, is you need to most probably change your strategy halfway. So
Yes,
what do
I
I
agree.
mean by that? So whatever got you here won't necessarily get you there. So for the last final few levels, you need a different approach than the approach that you use beating the first levels, if that makes sense.
Well,
And
so
that,
like I'll
yeah,
just quickly interrupt to give an
go for it.
example and let you get back to it. But like the slingshot and the ninja star are not options to choose initially.
At the
I think I
beginning,
had like a
correct,
hammer and
correct.
something, and you do have the ability as you're going through the runs to remove items that you have, like skills that you have that are going to
Yeah,
show up on your wheel. So yeah,
yeah,
I think I might have started with the poison dagger and a hammer or a sword or something,
yeah.
and then as soon as the slingshot and the ninja star became available, I kind of swapped them out.
And I think it's so critical to swap your equipment out and that's what I didn't do. I think that's where I spent 10 hours trying to perfect those initial weapons, right, that I got. And yeah, and so as soon as I started doing that, and also realizing that the upgrades that you buy, in other words, the extra spin or the slingshot or the other weapons that we get, or shields, are also, for those that cost money, right, are also upgradable, and I did not realize that. So
Yep.
the fact that, even though it costs money to, use your slingshot is upgradable, right? So because I always thought, what a waste of time, right, for only, I don't know, 20 damage, to
Yes.
spend 9 coins, right? So
Yep.
uh not realizing, yes, but you can upgrade that, if you wanted to, if that was your weapon of choice. So Marcus, there are lots of viable builds to kind of reach the end game. And for me, there was just fun, right? So I changed between poison. I loved the bomb, so I would highly recommend the bomb if you love bomb. When the bomb crits, magic happens, so to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure that those strategies that you have, that you just keep them fresh each time that you sit down. I think, as I said, I spend 16 and a half hours. I think it's actually quite easy to spend a lengthy amount of time. And it kind of reminds me of in real life, right? People that attend and go to casinos, they're not there for just half an hour. They're there for a long time,
Yeah.
right? So I think that addictive nature came across. How much did you enjoy experimenting, Marcus, with the different builds?
Um, initially, I think I kind of did the same thing that you did, but
Hmm.
maybe I don't know. Maybe this speaks to me being. I should tell Lindsay about this because
Hmm.
I'm not quite as stubborn as you apparently. Because I did end up flipping my strategy. I was like, this isn't not. I'm not getting further.
Hmm.
Every run, I
Hmm.
kind of end around the same spot,
Hmm.
and the upgrades that I'm making to my modifiers between runs are not enough to kind of like get me much further.
That's
And
exactly
so
it.
And so I eventually started experimenting, but then again, I landed on that slingshot and ninja star fairly early in that experimentation kind of. And then I just was like, okay, I just need to max these things out,
Yeah.
and then I feel like I
Yeah.
can go pretty far, and that's what ended up beating me the game. So there were weapons that like I could have had in my wheel that I didn't touch.
Yeah.
Like I think there was like a saw blade.
Yeah,
I didn't try
exactly.
that one. There was a few others that I didn't even use. So there's still more, definitely a
More
lot more
builds.
paths,
Yeah,
that I could have
exactly.
tried.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I would encourage you experiment to, because it's really fun just to kind of see what works for you. And yeah, uh, that's why I think the replay. This is a tiny game by all means, but it has tons amount of replayability, right?
Yeah. And I think like that's where when you had initially messaged me and you're like, I think you were almost at 15 hours at that point. I was like, I still think that this qualifies as a tiny game because you've basically gotten the entire experience out, and you would have had you have plenty, like you could play this game for 5 hours, still not, maybe not beat it, but you know the game. You like this is, you could stop right there and be completely satisfied and be able to kind of like talk it through. You continue to play it that far to show, I think, that you could beat it, but also because it's fun. It's really fun, you know.
Totally right.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, we did get one community member that submitted their standout for Slots and Daggers. So I'm just going to pull that up here. Jazzy wrote in and said, my standout moment was when I first saw the bomb hit for over 7,000 damage on a critical, wiping a floor boss in a single hit. So, I mean, this is, you talked about the bomb. I didn't play that much with the bombs. I think because I hadn't upgraded the bomb, was a magical attack, I think.
Yeah.
And I had focused on physical attacks instead of magical attacks. So whenever I did try it a few times, but it was never doing that level of damage for me.
Every time you took the bomb a level further, it did more damage. So it didn't always depend on your upgrade. It just did more damage every level that you increased.
Every level or every enemy?
Every level that you increased.
Okay.
Yeah? So
maybe I didn't stick with it long enough then.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Interesting.
It did way more damage than I thought any weapon could. I think it is perhaps the most powerful weapon there.
Could be.
But don't quote me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so thanks for sending that in, Jazzy. I think like again, this is a fun game, and getting that sort of experience, like single kind of damage, one single hit, 7,000 damage is a lot of damage in this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I think you had fun.
Yeah. And if you, dear listener, want to have your standouts read on the show, play the game and hop into our Discord. Every episode, Michael will put a call out for community standouts, and if we get any in there, we'll read them out on the show. So
absolutely, yeah, you're welcome to join us also and play the games that we announce at the end of every show, like we'll do shortly, right?
Yes, so, we'll do that in a moment here. But before we do that, we're going to wrap up our discussion on Slots and Daggers, Michael, by asking ourselves, do we recommend the game, and if so, to whom?
So, I mean, I obviously can only but give it a thumbs up. It's definitely a roguelite. And I think if you're worn out by Hades, I don't know, Slay the Spire, Balatro, right, all those type of games whose formula then this is a very unique game that offers a very unique experience. And it focuses more on strategy rather than on pure RNG or pure luck, right? So if this interests you, then definitely give it a try. Also, if you care about art and sound design, this is a very unique looking game. It's not photorealistic in any way. It's got sketchy pixel art. It's got chiptune hip hop beats. It's got a jazz organ. It's got the tavern sounds. So a lot of things to that might interest you to gravitate towards it. And for players who love experimenting with builds, right, finding synergies between how they want to construct their build, be it you heard with us, right, a poison build or a slingshot or a bomb, there are tons of others that we have not tried yet. And I'm sure I will continue trying. So there is a lot of potential that warrants to be unlocked. So yes, highest recommendation from me, Marcus. How about you?
Big recommend for me, Michael. I thought this again. My one word to describe this game is fun. It's a lot of fun. I think like you compared it, which I think is a fair comparison to these other types of roguelikes, Slay the Spire, roguelite, sorry, Slay the Spire, Balatro. There's been a whole slew of these style of games. The difference with this one is I think at least it has the potential to be a lot smaller than those games. You're seeing probably a progression a little bit faster. There's probably not quite as a long a road to get to the end game part of those this game relative to those games. I struggle to kind of think, Michael, who wouldn't enjoy this game? You don't have to be a gamer to like this game. It's very effective at hitting a lot of dopamine receptors. Again, whether or not you get into the weeds like Michael and I have about exploring lots of different builds, I think that there is still fun to be had for almost anybody.
Yeah,
so
I'm totally with you.
Yeah, pretty big recommend for me to check it out. It's cheap too. Like I think this is I don't know, what was it, $8.99, something like this. Like it's less than $10 US for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap for episode 34, Michael. A little bit of housekeeping before we reveal our next game. Of course, we would really appreciate it if you shared, liked, subscribed, and left us a 5-star review wherever you happen to be listening. And aside from that, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Tiny Game Chronicles, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. You can also follow me or find me on my other shows. As Michael mentioned at the very beginning, we did a kind of a Worlds Collide episode with all of my friends, all of our friends, my other two co-hosts of my other two shows. So Michael and John were both on the most recent episode of BFAM, talking about our favorite games of 2025. And the aforementioned John, we're in the middle of Fantasy Critics season, Michael. So we've been doing a little bit more Fantasy Critics stuff. We released our draft preview episode. So if you haven't had your Fantasy Critic draft and you need some tips, John and I are here to help. So check out Hype Factor, the most recent episode of that.
Some very good tips, I must say. So the most obvious game is not a game you should select in your first round. Leave it at that.
Michael, where can people find you?
So you can also find me on Blue Sky under Drellish, DRELLESH, as well as on our tiny game community. The link to our Discord will be in the show notes, and I'd love to see you there. Yeah, both of us. So.
And Tiny Game Chronicles is also on YouTube, Michael. If you want to watch our episode live, mostly unedited, you can check us out on YouTube. We're putting some shorts on for every episode, or almost every episode. So and hopefully we're going to get up some new things Michael's working on at some point in the future. So check us out on YouTube and subscribe over there, because get this show in front of more eyes. I think that'd be awesome. Great. Yeah, we would really appreciate it. Okay, Michael, I think it's time to introduce our next game. So this next game was developed by a company called Nice Dream, and it was published by Skybound Games. And in it, you play a 6-month-old baby developing mysterious psychic powers. What you want most is to be loved and accepted by your family, but a secretive tech corporation wants you for their own.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this game, Michael, is...
Good Night Universe.
Good Night Universe. Yes. So this, at least some of the developers that worked on this game, Michael, had done a previous game that was pretty well celebrated. It had a very unique mechanic called Before Your Eyes that had a blinking mechanic in it. I'm planning to play this, Michael, on PlayStation. I understand that Good Night Universe, at least on PC, does take advantage of some camera kind of functionality.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that I was going to try it on PlayStation, because I'm not the keyboard and mouse guy, as we've established here. But I think Michael has volunteered to try it on PC.
Exactly. So I will basically see how it goes. Both of us wear glasses, so let's kind of see how what that experience is for us, right? With regards to, because apparently you can go through the game by blinking. So yeah, let's see how that is. Is
Yeah,
it blinking?
I don't
think
know
so,
if it's
no?
all blinking. That's their previous
Okay.
game. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
don't exactly know what the mechanism that they're using the camera for. Maybe there is some blinking, but I know that that's not all of it. So
Okay.
yeah,
I'll allow myself to be surprised.
yeah.
So.
I'll be interested to see how your experience is with
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
I think we can wrap things up there, Michael. So I will just say to our listeners, thank you for listening.
Yes.
And we will be back in 2 weeks with Good Night, Universe.
Good night. Good night and goodbye.
Good night and goodbye. See you later.
See you later.